Hey everybody, this is Malcolm Grissom, the stand-up CEO and founder of the World Laughter Organization. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of the Lighten Up Project. I if you go back to episode 2 of season 1, I've talked about the humor tree and my definition of humor based on my educated guess, I guess. And one part humor is uh, it's about play. It comes back to the basis of play and our sense of humor. If you also remember talking my conversation with Steve Wilson, we talked about sense of humor. And that was along the same lines, that sense of joy, that natural sense of joy. Now, the podcast here is, yes, we celebrate laughter and humor, comedy. We've done that a lot. This is actually the first of 3 interviews that I am going to interview musicians to talk about play and that sense of enjoyment and joy that they get from play as artists. So I am so pleased to bring to you, the band is called the Clarences. They are a North California, North, I cannot speak right now. They are a band from Northern California. The Clarences, they've been around for 19 years. Today we are going to have the first of 3 interviews with Robert Medeiros. Now, Robert, he wanted me to introduce him in a very particular way. So let me go ahead and look that up. All right. So he enjoys the Clarences. We already went through that. Yeah, he enjoys the Clarences. He enjoys music. He enjoys thrift stores and comic books. He enjoys records and toys. We will get into that. And animals. He also enjoys long walks on the beach. Please welcome my friend Robert Medeiros. Hey, Robert.
Hello, Malcolm. Hi. Thanks for having me on the show, and thanks for that introduction. And thanks for allowing us to do 3 parts. The first part with me, the second part with Erin, and the third part with Leslie. So it's an honor and a pleasure to be on your new show. You are a legend, Malcolm. Thank you so much. The Clarences love you.
Well, and I love the Clarences. So let's go ahead and start off by just giving our audience first off, right off the bat, even though it's in show notes, tell the audience how they can find the Clarences, just in case they want to do that right now while they're listening. If they're on a computer browser, where can they go?
They can go to a lot of places, but where they should go is www.theclarences, TheClarences.com, theclarences.com, or youtube.com/theclarences, or facebook.com/theclarences, or even instagram.com/theclarences. Heck, just put the Clarences in your search engine, wherever that is, and you will find us. Because we've been around, like you mentioned earlier, 19 years, where you can find us somewhere on there, some platform. Thank you.
So tell us, Robert, what is your favorite toy?
Favorite toy? Well, I like. Thanks for asking. I like toys from like the 70s and 80s, maybe a little bit of the 90s, but mostly 70s and 80s. And I would say my favorites are like action figures or old Barbie dolls or old. There was a toy company in the 70s called Mego, Mego. You can look them up, and they actually restarted a different version of it. It's still called Mego, but I'm talking about the original Mego, which is like 70s into early 80s. A lot of the action figures were, superheroes or TV shows, stuff like that. And then, of course, I like the Star Wars figures from the 70s, early 80s, and stuff like toys like that. Mostly, for the most part. I mean, I'll sway here and there, but mostly it's the action figures of 70s and 80s, stuff like that. Do you like toys?
Yes, I like toys. I was raised on Sesame Street. And
Right.
so
You don't really raised on it, or
yeah, I was literally raised on it. And I was born everybody knows this. If you were tuning into my first episode, but I was also born on stage. I was born in a car on stage. I was
is
born,
that true?
yes, I was born in the back seat of a tiny little sports car, and it was parked on in the middle of an alleyway. So at the time, my parents lived in San Francisco in the
That's Remap.
Asbury district.
Interesting.
And there was a very little alleyway between the houses, right? So we lived in an apartment building, and there was an alleyway. The car was parked right in the middle of the alleyway. And I say on stage because my entire neighborhood, all of my neighbors were watching as my mother comes out of the house screaming, "He's coming! He's coming!" And they were watching the whole thing. She got to the car, and as soon as she got to the car and she had help getting in, my dad and a friend helped her get into the car. As soon as she got into the car, then I popped out.
That's amazing. I've known you, 10, 12, when we did radio. Malcolm and we should say Malcolm, we won't say the name of the station, but Malcolm and I met, about 10, 12 years ago at this radio station in San Francisco. I was a DJ there, and he was a DJ. And he actually interviewed the three of us, Erin, Leslie, and myself, on his show on that radio station about 10 years ago or so. And but it was, that explains so much that about you. It makes perfect sense because I can't picture Malcolm Grissom just having a normal birth. I just can't imagine that. Love it. Love it.
So I was born in the car, and I was raised on Sesame Street.
Love it.
Every day I would watch Sesame Street, and I guess I like all the characters, but my favorites are, of course, Gonzo.
That's Muppet Show. Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, Muppet. I get them all confused. So wait, Gonzo, yeah, Gonzo's Muppet. There's one on Sesame Street though that is
which one?
Similar to Gonzo. Well, there's Cookie Monster and actually, you know what? No. I take that back. It's more of a melding of Cookie Monster and
Gonzo.
And Gonzo, and
There's a lot of characters, Malcolm.
there's a lot of characters, and especially now there's even more and more, and of course there's the Muppets, and I was really big on the Muppets, and so I'm getting that confused too. But but my favorite is actually from the Muppet Show, and um Animal.
Oh, Animal, yeah, the drummer.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. He's great.
Animal.
And so, yeah, that was Animal, the Muppet Show that was like, what, 76 to like 81, 82, I think it was on television. It's on weekends. That was a great show. And then the Muppet movie in 79, 80, that was fantastic. I didn't see the other ones.
Yeah, it was first. It was the Sesame Street that got me all into Jim Henson and
yeah,
Bert and Ernie. You know, I really liked Ernie. Really liked Ernie. Didn't have a lot of his dolls and toys, but I really liked him and Bert.
What did you like about Ernie?
I liked his innocence. Bert and Ernie, so they played well off each other, and
yeah, they were like Abbott and Costello kind of. They had that the straight man and the funny guy. Yeah, total classic duo. Yeah.
So and I liked Ernie, his innocence, and his sort of it's an innocent sense of humor, I guess.
Ernie was cool.
Yeah,
rubber ducky. He loved his rubber ducky.
That's the best way I could describe it. Yeah.
And I love how Bert loved his pigeons. He loved his pigeons. I thought that was adorable. I thought that was very sweet.
Definitely.
So I grew up in a different era of Sesame Street. I don't know what year you were born, but I grew up. I watched it in the 70s when there were a lot of. It was a little different. It kind of got a little bit more politically correct, like the early to mid 80s, and they kind of got rid of a lot of characters that were deemed quote unquote politically incorrect, whatever. But the point of the matter is that the characters that I used to love on that show were some of the ones that they took away. One of my favorites was Roosevelt Franklin, who was amazing character. You can look him up. People don't know what I'm talking about. Just look it up on YouTube or whatever. Roosevelt Franklin, like the opposite of Franklin Roosevelt. Roosevelt Franklin on Sesame Street. He was great. I liked the guy that would go, I got a secret. I like that guy. I liked Grover when he was the waiter.
Grover, that's who I was thinking of.
You were thinking of Grover. Yeah,
I was trying to think of Grover. Yeah, Grover is the one that I really liked. There was a book. There was a book actually featuring him. It was called "The Monster at the End of the Book."
Oh yes, know that book well. That's a famous.
Yeah. I love that book. For those of you in the audience that don't know that book, it's spoiler alert, really, but it's not really. But if you get the book, you go through it the entire time. Grover's talking about, oh, there's a monster. I don't know. Oh, don't turn the page. Oh, you're one page closer to the monster. Oh my goodness. No, don't stop. No, stop.
Yeah.
And stop turning the page. And you turn the page again. And you get to the end of the book and it's like a mirror.
So cool.
I love
Very
it.
cool.
Like, you're the monster.
You're the monster, which was
Mhm.
brilliant. Jim
It
Henson
was.
didn't was completely ahead of his time because he was the first one without. Because I feel like if they did this nowadays, they would make a big deal out of it, like, "Hey, monsters aren't scary," blah blah. But he did it without actually even saying it. What he did is he made monsters not scary, and that was brilliant. Like I said, nowadays if they do it, they would make a big deal out of it. They talk about it. Oh, see, blah blah. He never did. That's what the characters were, and they were all different colors and all different shapes, and it was without saying it. And I think that's more powerful in the long run than actually making a big deal about it. Yeah, he was a brilliant guy. Jim Henson was way ahead of his time.
Yep.
Long live his memory.
And look at what they've done with his and even Sesame Street. I think I stopped to watch. I don't watch it, but I believe Netflix has picked it up.
Oh, interesting. I'm sure YouTube has episodes, like, especially maybe like me and you have been talking about 70s and 80s ones. Maybe there's some episodes of there. Like, I just read an interesting article on a character that was very important in my era was Mr. Hooper, who ran the store, and then he died.
Yeah,
I think 83. And he was great. He was a great character. Another thing that I want, now that we're talking about Sesame Street, I just wanted to mention one more thing about that I thought was really cool, and then something I didn't really like that they did is one of the coolest things they did is the Snuffleupagus character. Now, in my generation, Snuffleupagus was only seen by Big Bird. Only Big Bird was the only, and then remember how the whole neighborhood would be like, "Okay, Bird, whatever you're talking about," like Big Bird, like, "Sure, there's this creature," blah, blah. And then every time he would just go like, "No, he's right here," he would Snuffleupagus and go around the corner and nobody would see him. I thought that was brilliant because it told kids it's okay to have an imagination.
Yes, right now Donald Trump has announced the first ever.
Yeah, exactly. And even if it is true, it doesn't mean it's not a good thing. Whatever. It's just, it is what it is. And then they what I didn't like is when they finally everybody else started to see him. I kind of liked it when it was just him and Big Bird like only Big Bird saw him. I thought that was kind of cool. Very, very cool. And I actually, for a long time ago, about 20, 25 years ago, I actually was starting to call my generation, Generation X, the imaginary Snuffleupagus generation, because my generation was the generation that only Big Bird saw Snuffleupagus. Then the generations after, everybody saw Snuffleupagus. So the imaginary Snuffleupagus generation. But that was cool. That was a very cool character. He was cute. Very, very cute.
So let's talk now about music. Now that we've talked a lot about toys, and we've gotten off track. Let's veer back and let's talk a little bit about music and your joy of music. When did you first start with when did you first start as a musician?
When I first started as a musician, there was musical instruments around the house growing up because my mom and my sister are both musicians. My mom played piano and guitar, and my sister played piano. Also, my grandmother on my father's side was a piano player, and my father's father was also a guitar player. So it was in my blood. So I started playing 13. That's when I really got into music. I mean, I'd always liked music. There were certain chord progressions that always caught my fancy. Like, here's an example. When I was a little kid in the 70s, I really loved sports. I really loved the New York Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys and all these things. Anyway, they would have these little clips, like This Week in the NFL, and there was this guy named John Facenda who would narrate these, but the music, the man's name was Spence. First name Steve Spence? No, I think that's wrong. Spence is the last name. But his music was amazing, and I loved the sound of it. But then I was a big fan of TV show themes. Huge, because when 70s and 80s TV show themes were the best ever. And I grew up on it. The one that I remember really catching my ear was the theme song to 3-2-1 Contact, which was on PBS. And I loved that chord progression, that boom, 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 boom. I didn't know why, but I just loved the way that sounded. So anyway, starting getting into my 12, 13, I really got into music. MTV had come out, and I was like, oh my God, I just fell in love with music. I just loved it. I just ate it up. And so I started playing originally with bass because me and my friend Scott Machado, shout out to Scott Machado, had a band in high school called the Turtlenecks. It was just me and him, and we made tapes, and we were kind of a comedy pop band. It was just me and him. Sometimes I'd play keyboard, he'd sing, or most of the songs were him on guitar, me singing. And we just did comedy songs based on people we knew or characters on TV. So anyway, he played guitar, so I was like, okay, I'll play the bass. Got onto it real fast. And I was like, let me try guitar. Caught on really fast. Then I went to keyboards, drums, self-taught on everything, and everything just came super easy to me. So the long answer to your short question is 13 years old is when I started playing music and playing instruments.
Okay. It's great. That's a love that's followed you throughout the years. So have there been any memories in your younger or even recent life, even your older life, have there been any memories that have been enhanced by music?
Oh, that's a great question, Malcolm. There's so many. Music is, I always say this. I still say it. Rock and roll is the only thing that will never let you down in life. Music. Let's just say music, because it's all kind of music, right? It's not just rock and roll. There's disco, and there's rap, there's classical, there's whatever. But soul, punk. But music in general is so important. I know you probably feel the same way. Is music, and a lot of your listeners too, is music can transcend you from, say you're not feeling well, and then you put on that one song that you love. It could be a popular song that everybody knows. Who knows? It doesn't matter. It's you, right? So it doesn't matter. It's all personal. But just say a deep track. It's like, hey, man, I just love this song. And no matter where you are, no matter what you're feeling, no matter where you are, you hear that song, and it just brings you to another level. And there's been so many. Your question was, it's happened so many times in my life, regardless of I'm having a good time, having a bad time, having just a time. It brings you to another place. I mean, if you're you're at a place and you hear a song that you absolutely adore, like really love, and you hear it, you can already feel your energy level starting to build up. And you immediately, your first thing, you kind of like your head lifts up and you want to say to somebody you're with or whoever, just say like, oh, I love this song. Like it's always that immediate thing. And I don't really know of any other form of entertainment or whatever that does that to people. And it seems that music is if the only one, maybe you can correct me if there are others, I'm not sure at the moment, but that really does that to people. And yes, I've had that happen many, many times. And I love music very much. Very dearly.
Yeah, definitely. There's that emotion, that really big emotional connection. And that is, so laughter, right, is definitely not on that same level. And laughter's from entertainment. Now we're talking comedy, and comedy is definitely not that, but laughter itself, the natural act of laughter, that sense of play, the same sense that we have playing with toys, playing with watching Sesame Street, and that is similar Not the same. I still think that music is much more powerful because it gets
I
into
agree.
much not it gets into different emotions, not just
Mhm.
the happiness, the relaxation that you'll get from laughter. But I
Mhm.
think that laughter is close, and that laughter and play and music share that in common.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that's a wonderful point because one of the things I noticed with music, and now that you say laughter, there's not a lot of commitment to it, right? I mean, it's not like, well, I have to sit down and watch this. I have to go do this. No, that stuff doesn't matter where you are. You're just all your senses are related. No matter where you are, what you do, there's not a lot of commitment to it. And so, yeah, you're right. It's just laughter, music. It just has this absolute, it's just a great thing.
Now, music, do you also are you a composer?
I am, yeah. I write all
Okay.
the songs. hmm
Okay. So what are the instruments that you specialize in?
Well, I mentioned earlier, I play guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, and I sing. Okay, but in the Clarences, it's just a three piece. It's just me, Aaron, and Leslie, and all three of us sing. And I play keyboard that has actually it's an '80s Casio that's a exact replica of which I still have my original keyboard from when I was a teenager. The Casio keyboard I have still in the box from when I was a teenager learning to play keyboard. I still have that, but I don't want to play that out live too much. I don't want it to get damaged or whatever. I have used it in the past, but I suck. Anyways, I have exact replica of that I use on stage, and it has all the instruments in it. So when we play, we have drum beats and backing stuff, and then I play the keyboard too. If everyone goes online and watches live clips of us on a YouTube page, youtube.com, the Clarences, you'll see us how we set up. And so with the Clarences, the songs we play, I compose them on the keyboards, and how I compose. I'm not actually a sit down and I'm going to write a song. I've never been that way. I basically, what I do is it's kind of like I piece things together. So maybe I'm fiddling around on a guitar, or just say for this conversation, a keyboard, and I hear this riff and I'm like, oh, I like that. I'll record where the chords are on the phone or whatever. Or I'll overhear somebody say something. I like that line, and I'll write that down. Or I'll think of a line and I'll write it down. So on and so on, and a melody, whatever, I'll write it down. And then eventually I piece it all together and it becomes a song. And even the titles of our songs, we never say the titles of our songs in the song. So I always feel the title to be completely different from the song. So it shouldn't just be like, what you sing in the chorus is the name. I'm not faulting people for doing this. I'm just saying that's how we do it. Like, so what we sing in the quote unquote choruses is not the name of the song. The titles are completely different. So then eventually I piece that all together. It becomes a song. And then Aaron and Leslie, I write the songs and all that stuff, but Aaron and Leslie help out with the vocal. They've come up with some great vocal melodies. Um, Leslie's an amazing singer, and Erin's a phenomenal singer. She was you'll find out in her interview, she'll tell you all about it, but she's been singing many years, and she was in a B-52s tribute band and all that, but she's got a wonderful ear for melodies, harmonies. That's the word. No melodies, too, but harmonies. So she's come up with some great harmonies and songs, and Leslie's come up with really great parts, little snippets of vocals and songs that we still use, and that's their parts. So yes, I do write the songs, I do write the name of the songs and the lyrics, but they come up with stuff themselves. I don't want to just seem like I'm the only guy and they do nothing. It's not like ABBA or something. And I love ABBA, but it's not like Benny and Bjorn and ABBA where they write everything and then Frida and Agneta sing everything. It's like, well, that is what it was, but that's not the Clarences. And I'm very fortunate because in regards to Aaron and Leslie, they're such quick learners. I mean, it's unbelievable how quick they learn the song, and it just sticks. They just have that skill, which is unbelievable. Because I've worked with musicians in the past, and it's just like, really? I still got to show you this part. Like, okay, the first couple of times, but like, really? Like, it's been a couple of months now. Like, okay. But no, they're just wonderful, wonderful gals. And you'll know, and your viewers will find out as well in the interviews that you'll do the further number part 2 and part 3 with Aaron and Leslie. And so that's how the songwriting and writing the music goes. It's all on for Clarences, it's all on keyboard. I do have some guitar songs, but for Clarences, it's all keyboard.
So thank you for sharing your process as far as your composing process. It sounds to me that lends itself to a lot of improv. Is that right?
Yes. That's a great question, Malcolm. That's a really great question. I would say our improv comes from more our live performances than more of the song. Because the song, like when we do our song, our songs are very short. They're all within 2 minutes long. Because I know people just don't want to listen to long songs, so I keep our songs really short, and our sets are really fun and fast. We're kind of like the Ramones. We're like not the same kind of music, but we're like the Ramones were. We're just fly through a set and very little talking. But in the middle of the set, we introduce ourselves and thank all the other bands on the bill and the promoters and the sound guys and all the all that, and the people in the audience. From that, we just play our songs, but we have a lot of goofiness in between songs, like the little few seconds. So there's a little improv there, and there's sometimes improv during the songs, but recording wise and the song wise, not a lot of improvisation. How would you say? I can't even say it now. Not a lot of improv. It's just
right.
Kind
not in the recordings. I get it, but in the it sounds like the creative process of coming up and composing the songs, because
yes.
I was hearing that yes, you do a lot of the composing, but from what I was hearing, Aaron and Leslie, they both contribute to it. So it just sounds like there could be a lot of improv and play when you're actually composing, writing these songs.
Yes, I see what you're saying now. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I get it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not like this is the way we will play this song and this is the way it goes. It's just kind of like, here's my idea. Kind of want it to sound like this, but what do you guys have? You guys have any melodies? Do you guys have any? What do you guys think of this? Would you rather sing it like this? So you're right. A lot of improv.
Okay. So there's a lot of play that, and like you said, when you're actually live performing, in between songs, there's a lot of goofiness, and play.
Now, really fast, but yeah, there's a little bit. Yep.
Yeah. When I say a little bit, please don't take these words. Malcolm said a lot, but no, Robert said a little bit.
Actually, we don't play at all. We just sit there and laugh the whole time. What is right? What are they talking about? I want to see this Clarences band. No, I get
So now let's talk about life. And so these same sort of feelings, and now let's talk about your personal life. Okay. So are there moments, have there been moments where you have experienced that same sort of joy and goofiness on your own.
In regards to like without music or whatever, on my own.
Yeah,
Okay.
in regards to not music, just anything in life. Going
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. As one of my things is I know there's nothing grand I'm about to say, but you only live once, right? You only live once. Yeah, we've heard that a million times, but you truly got to live life like that. Now, does that mean that every single instance? Well, there's certain things you got to take care of. I mean, you got to pay your rent. If you don't, you got to pay some bills. Hopefully, you don't have a lot. I don't, but just say I know a lot of people that do, but you still got to take care of them. That's understandable. But you still should have a good time, and you should still try to find joy in everything, or stay away from places, people that do not bring you a good time. If something isn't good for you, that's okay. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. That doesn't mean the other person's a bad person. That just means that situation doesn't work. Time to go do something else. Time to get away. And there's a lot of strength in that, right? I mean, there's a lot of, I'm not going to name names, okay? It wouldn't matter. Nobody knows something. But there was a time that me and Tracy, we went to this place. We were invited. This person at this job that she had was always talking to us like a very nice person. Seemed like a really. And one time, hey, why don't you come to this place? We're doing a goth night. I'm not a goth, and nothing against goth, but I'm always up to do it. Sure, we'll go. And we went there, and we were there, and it was okay. It was fine. I had no problems. Just trying to have a nice time. And then we saw her, and I just went up to her. We went up to her and was like, hey, hi, we made it. We actually came. You asked us if we'd like to chat. We're here. And she was so rude to us. Like, it was so weird. Like, what? Like, you invited us here. Like, we didn't ask to come here. We came because you invited us. And now, so my point of the story is exactly this. I immediately looked at Tracy and said, let's get out of here. And we did. We just left right then. He's like, you know what? I wasn't going to try to make that situation better because I know it was only going to get worse. Maybe it would get better. I don't know. My life is too fucking. Oops, sorry. My life is too. Sorry. My life is too precious to waste time on that. I don't know this person. This person is not a friend of mine. Why am I going to waste time? I want to have joy. I want to have a good time. So that's part of the key of life is finding joy, is knowing when to stay away from things that don't bring you joy. They're not happy. And that's okay. A lot of times it seems like people are like, well, I didn't really like it. And it's like, well, that's okay. That's your thing. That's okay. It doesn't make you worse than me or me better than you or whatever. It's just, that's what it is. That's fine. I'd rather know than not know than resentment and all that builds.
What advice would you give to someone who about finding joy? So let's just so if if I came to you and I said, I'm Robert, I'm having a really hard time finding any joy in my life right now. I have this terrible job that I have to go to every day, and it's a mind um, blower. Like how I
Yeah.
made it radio friendly there. Mind blower.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not happy at all. How can I find joy? What would you say
Well,
to
that's
me?
Well, I would. That's a loaded question because that's a really hard, not a hard question, but it's way out there. I'm not saying it's a bad question. I'm just saying. So what I would say to you is like, first thing I would say to you is like, Malcolm, I've known you for over 10 years. You are truly a unique person, and I mean that when I say that to somebody. That's the ultimate compliment I can give someone. So I mean that sincerely. You're a unique, wonderful person. I also know that people like you and myself and other people that I know it's hard out there. It's a hard time because there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of non-understanding. And you see, I don't have a problem with somebody not understanding you, understanding me or whatever. But when it gets to the point of being mean about it or being judgmental, then it's like you stay away from that. So what would I give you advice? First thing I'd say is, well, what are some of your hobbies? What are some of the things you enjoy doing? So you say, well, I enjoy podcasts, I enjoy comedy, I enjoy laughter, I enjoy music, I enjoy Sesame Street, I enjoy telling my story of me being born in an alleyway in San Francisco, which is an amazing story, by the way. And so I'd be okay, so then cultivate that. Make that bigger in your life. Don't make the crappy little things bigger and the happy things smaller. So the things that make you, again, you only live once, like I said earlier, and I know everyone knows that, but we don't truly live it. So take those small things, make them bigger. So you do that. I've known you a long time. I've known you since the Bay Area, since San Francisco, and when we first met. And I know you're not there anymore, but I'm just saying, where we met. And I know that you're a motivated person because you obviously are, because you were on the radio. So you were motivated enough to go do that. And then you moved from San Francisco to where you are now. And you started a podcast. Now that takes motivation. So you're making the things that make you happy bigger in your life. And not only that, what I admire about this and this interview and your show is that you're just not doing a show to like, I'm just going to interview people, which is nothing wrong with that. That's a wonderful thing. People love that. But you're actually also trying to figure out people and yourself, because I feel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like with this, you're trying to figure yourself out. We all are. That's part of being humans, right? We're never going to totally figure it out because that's just part of being a human. But you are doing so to answer your question, you are doing what you got to do to make yourself happier. So make the things that don't make you happy smaller and make the things that make you happy bigger, right? And sometimes it's easier said than done. I'm going to put that out there for your viewers and for you and for me, myself, too. But it has to be done because if not, you're going to be miserable. And that's no way to live life. There's no way to live life miserable. There's no way. There's enough problems in the world, regardless of what's going on, what's the situation, whatever. It can be very hard. So you've got to find those pockets of joy and not make them pockets anymore. Make them, like a pool table. Just the first analogy that comes to my head is a pool table right now. On the edge of each corners and on the sides, there's the pockets where the balls go into. Make those pockets the size of the table where the hole balls are. Make that the size of that. Don't just make it little pockets. Make it the size of the green part of the pool table. And make that. So that's my advice to you. And just keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing your podcast. Yeah, that's it. Just keep bringing your sunshine out.
Wow. We're such a great interview. Need to have you back. Maybe we can after we interview all three of the Clarences separately. Maybe we'll have you back, all three of you at one time, and talk again.
Yeah, I'd love to.
This is great.
Yeah, I'd love to. It's been a pleasure, Mal. Always, it's been. There is a clip of us somewhere of us being interviewed by Malcolm 10 years ago or so on his show in San Francisco, radio show. I think it's on. I used to do these things called Bob's. And my radio show on the same station Malcolm was on was called Bob's Radio Cafeteria. But I also did these little things which are still on YouTube called Bob's Video Cafeteria, which were just little 2 years in my life, little snippets, little 5-6 minute episodes monthly or a few months apart of just different cornucopia things. And one of the things is our interview on Malcolm. But the reason I bring this up because it's one of my favorite things ever. I still laugh when I see it. I don't know where I came up with this, but you said to me and Aaron, and Leslie was on the phone. You said, "What's your favorite color? What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?" And for some reason, I said corduroy, and without even thinking, You didn't go, what? What are you talking? You went, wow, that's my favorite flavor too. I was like, this guy's good. This Malcolm guy is good. He's a good guy, and he's got a good mind. So yes, we would love that. I would really appreciate being on your new show. Congratulations on that, and getting exposed to a new audience, the Clarences. So thank you so much, Malcolm.
Thank you.
You're a really, really great, unique guy. I'm glad you're on the planet. Thank you.
Thanks. One more question, and then we will go ahead and end our interview, because it's been, I don't know how long we've been talking, but that's how great it's been. So,
well, thank you. Takes two to tango. Thank you.
What gives you hope right now?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
What gives you hope right now?
Oh, hope right now. Well, kind of a silly one, but I want to say it. Your new podcast, which isn't silly, but I mean, and the Clarences will be turning 20 years old next April. That gives me hope. So that's my hope for that. And also, just hopefully people will take something from this wonderful interview that we did. And that's all. That's the hope I have.
Yes.
Thank you, Malcolm.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Robert. And all of your contact information is in our show notes. And as Robert and I have repeatedly said, this is part one of a 3-part interview with the Clarences. So stay tuned. And until then, thanks for tuning in. And remember, when life gets heavy, lighten up. Healing. That's right. Healing doesn't have to be heavy. Thanks a lot. Tune in to our Facebook group that will, our Facebook page will show you our upcoming episodes. Until then, see you later. Stressed out, stuck, or leading on autopilot? It's not a motivational problem, it's a connection problem. My weekly virtual improv classes boost engagement, collaboration, and retention, all while having fun. Register now for a complimentary month.